Hey everybody, and welcome back to more CCLP2. We are on Monster Factory, level 111. This is another Eric Schmidt level, and it's rather notable because it had a title that was in CC1, namely Monster Lab, and oh, right, that goes the exit. So the name got changed to Monster Factory in time for the release. I don't know why Firefly, Fire and Trap, that wasn't the case there, but thankfully this level did get that, so that was cool. And this allows that to go, so that's cool. And let's see if I can make it. Okay, so now we have a guess here, and I think this is the right way. Yes, okay, good. This is a fun level, and I really like the aesthetic of it with all the clone machines, even those that don't have monsters on them. A lot of people don't like the Tile World clone machine tile. I actually do. I think it's different and it adds something. It's not like the Microsoft clone machine tile that just kind of looks like a wall with concentric squares on it and stuff. And we get the big teeth chase here. So really fun, kind of like Victim, nice and open. I always use Victim as the example for the quintessential teeth chase open level. But really, it's a fun level to play. And if you're really good at optimizing, you don't even have to worry about the chase part of it. But that is admittedly the most fun part of it. Alright, we're almost done. We just need to get two more, and they're right up here. And that should be good enough to make it to the exits. I actually set a new record on this level recently, and it was through optimizing in Linux, oddly enough. Anyway, after the Rainstorm is next, and this is a rather devious one, particularly if you're not very familiar with the game mechanics. So you have to make sure that you save up enough blocks to make it through this section. And the water space below actually has a hidden thin wall pointing up. So you don't want to use that, you want to go over here. Or rather, you don't want to use that right away, I should say. You want to position a block down here so you can get to those flippers down there. Yes, I'm still calling them flippers, not water boots. I always thought the name water boots was kind of a little strange. I mean, I guess it makes sense with how the flippers look, but I don't know. So we have this kind of mixed nuts-esque rearrangement section here. And once we get this underway, it actually becomes quite a bit simpler. So here we need to go around and push blocks down this way, so we have to avoid those water tiles there in the middle. So see here now we can push several at once. In Lynx, you couldn't push over that hint tile. They didn't remove it for that, so you'd have to go the longer route. But thankfully in MS you can do that, which is nice. Alright, we're almost done. And we can't go into our house because it's been flooded according to that hint. I like how there are like swimming ships that represent people. I know you can see that somewhere. I'll have to look for that later. I think it's right here. Yeah, there you go. Maybe those are the bathrooms and they're... Why'd I do that? Why'd I do that? Alright, let's not do that again. Let's start over. But this is actually an opportune time because I can talk about something that's been on my mind lately. So... as I mentioned earlier this week, I was really stressed out. And when I get stressed out, I don't know, it's weird. My mind goes to strange places, for lack of a better way of putting it. And I know that shouldn't be the case, but sometimes it is, and I don't realize that I'm in that place until it's pretty well underway. And the classic example that I always love to give is worrying about what could happen. And this is something that's been with me ever since I was a kid. I mean, one of the things, and I don't tell a lot of people this, so I think you guys are some of the first people that I've really told this to, but I really don't like watching disaster movies. Now, that sounds kind of funny because disaster movies are cheesy and I love cheesy movies. But I always take those movies way too seriously. Like, if I remember, let's see, what was that movie? I think it was about a volcano, and I think it was just called Volcano. It came out back in the 90s, and it was this terrible movie starring Tommy Lee Jones and somebody else, I forget who. But I remember when the trailers for that came out, I didn't really know much about movies and movie trailers at the time because I was just a little kid and I barely went to the theater. But when I saw the trailer in the theaters, the voiceover, and they had like way more voiceovers and trailers back then than they do now. The voiceover was all like, "They told us it could never happen, but on May 21st, it will happen." And that scared me to death. Like, I actually thought that was for real. Like, I actually thought it would happen. And I didn't think it was just a movie. I thought that the movie was basically a public service announcement about volcanoes and stuff. I know that sounds really stupid, but okay, and right here you have to use ramming by pushing it up against the force floor so you don't die there. Hang on a sec. I'm going to push this up here, and then I'm going to get the last... Where's the last chip? Oh, right, it's over that. It's over back here. So yeah, I took those movies way too seriously growing up. And I know that sounds dumb, but in some ways, the end of the world just kind of excited me. It's excited me and it scared me half to death. Anything that had some sort of apocalyptic feel, that was like on my radar to watch. And it's really silly just because, most of the time these things never really happen. Well, I shouldn't say most of the time because we haven't had the apocalypse yet, so it's all the time these things never really happen. But when I was young and life had just begun, as the song said, I fell for this stuff. When Y2K was a big deal and all that, I bought into all the hype. I was just, let's see, how old was I? 10 or 11 at the time? And I seriously thought the world was going to end. Like, I didn't do anything rash, but I was kind of excited, looking forward to it. And scared. And the exit's under a block here somewhere. There we go. After the Rainstorm done, another Eric level. Oorto Geld II, a Drew Thomas level. We haven't had one of those in a while. This one, the monsters already toggle the walls for you, and you just have to watch out for all those walkers. But anyway... I kind of ended up, disappointed when Y2K never really materialized and the world just kept on going. And I was relieved, too. But ever since then, I've always kind of had this, I don't know, this sort of tendency to, this could take a while. This tendency to kind of latch onto things that no one really talks about. Because there's this kind of thrill in knowing things that other people don't know. Like, I think it kind of appeals to that egotistical side in people. But, if you're in the know, if you have knowledge that no one else knows, there's power that you feel from that, And I know that's to have. But because that's kind of the mindset I developed growing up, it's been really hard to undo that. I was always feeling like I had to prove myself to the world growing up. And so I'd seek after whatever, kind of gave me more credibility, basically. I tried to find things that, other people didn't know anything about, and I thought I was a better person for knowing those things, even though, obviously, that's not true. Way to look at life. But a classic example is when I was 12, I caught this documentary on TV that claimed that the moon landings were faked. And as a kid with, no sense of discernment at all, I totally bought into that. It was so stupid, but I totally bought... I was about to exit. Come on. So anyway, as a kid with no sense of discernment at all, I totally bought into that for 2 days until my dad set me straight. But it was so compelling, and it was you heard this stuff and you're like, no one else knows this. I could be in the inner circle of people who know about this stuff. And, you feel kind of a sense of power from it, like I mentioned earlier. It was just, there's just something about that appeals to that egotist in you. So I've tried to work on that over years, but the other night I found myself in a situation where I was falling for it yet again. And I had to stop myself when I woke up in the morning because I was staying up late. I was just on the internet, and I had remembered something that a friend of mine, oh, actually a coworker of mine back in Texas had mentioned, and that could have been bad if the toggle parity was different. But anyway, it was a coworker of mine at the law firm I used to work at, and he mentioned this book that he had read. It was called 1 Second Later, I think was the name of it, and it was basically a fictional novel about what could happen if a giant electromagnetic pulse bomb struck America and fried pretty much everything. And for those of you who don't know, EMPs or electromagnetic pulse devices, they pretty much shock everything and turn off, all the electricity, for lack of a better way of putting it. And by the way, you don't need all the chips here, so that's why I'm not starting over. And so this novel is about what might theoretically happen. It's fictional, but it's what might theoretically did happen in the world as we know it. And, from what he said, I didn't really read it or anything, but it sounded really compelling. And that was a Christian Stall level, of course, a sequel to the original. And this is a Tyre Folly level, which I really like. This is one of my favorite levels in the whole set. But yeah, it was just very interesting to hear about that, because I had never heard of the whole EMP idea. Like, I'd heard about small devices that, could turn off electronics and you can use them to sabotage, hospitals or whatever. Like, I don't know, you could use them for malicious reasons, of course. But I never heard about, something that could basically be used as in a nuclear sense, deployed in that way. So when I heard about that, I went online, I did some research, and oh my goodness, guys, the internet is like this black hole that is impossible to escape from if you let yourself get too caught up in it. And basically, I was going around finding all this stuff about how to survive an EMP attack and, all these things. And, the more I read this, the more it gave credence to the idea that this could really happen. And there are some people out there who are pretty passionate about the idea that it could really happen. Personally, I'm not one of those people. I don't believe that, or at least I haven't found sufficient evidence, I should say. Okay, this level is officially annoying. I do not like to turn, and I forget which ice tiles to remove, but I'm going to try to put myself in a situation where I don't compromise my safety or anything. But anyway, I was just reading all this stuff, and it was just so compelling. Like the moon landing thing was, because I thought, whoa, this could really happen, and that was a dumb death. And not realizing that if North Korea or someone decided to try this out, we have systems in place that could pretty much knock one of those things out before it could do something crazy or whatever. Just stuff like that. I mean, I don't know if we would or not. I mean, that's another story, so who knows? I mean, it's theoretically possible, I guess, but it would require a whole lot of things to go right on the part of whoever is responsible, is what I'm trying to get at. So, but just reading all this stuff, you get convinced that it could actually happen. And so I began thinking, oh my goodness, I actually need to prepare for this. And you guys know just how much I over-prepare for pretty much everything under the sun. I mean, I've confessed that on this channel so many times, just because I know it's a weakness of mine. Like, I understand that, especially with something like a YouTube channel. A YouTube channel is supposed to be fun, not something that you rehearse stuff for your videos, unless you're just really good at doing that, I suppose. But this morning I woke up, and it's kind of funny how God gets your attention sometimes, but I was going on Facebook, and a friend of mine posted this really funny meme that basically said something like, oh, wait a minute, I'm supposed to put this over here, right, in the toggle area. I was not paying attention. That was dumb of me. Okay, so I should probably, let's remove that one, because I think we're going to need to get this ball along a path as well. So I'm just going to let that go, and then once this ball gets back, I'll crush it over here. Okay, that's the one that's going to do the tank, or the trap buttons, so that's good. Where was I going with this whole story? Oh yeah, so I woke up this morning and a friend of mine posted this Facebook meme, and it said something like, "Well, if you eat vegetables and drink lots of water and exercise, you're gonna dot 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 die anyway." And I'm like, it is kind of funny though, because it's true. You know, you are gonna die anyway, and it's not like you can really control the fact that you're gonna die. I mean, when you die, yeah, you can help with that a little bit, but and then I stumbled upon this other article on, I think it was the Huffington Post, and it said something along the lines of, well, 3 ways to die if you are in the apocalypse or something like that. And basically, the whole point that the guy was trying to make is that you're going to die anyway. The 3 ways were something like, you could die from a what were the 3 ways? You could die from just not preparing at all, and everyone goes crazy. There are rioters in the streets and everything, and you're pretty much screwed. So you're just going to die. Or way number 2 is that you could prepare, and okay, where's this ball? I'm kind of getting a little worried about this right now. Oh, here he is. Okay, good. Way number 2 is that you could prepare, but you prepare for the wrong emergency, and therefore you die anyway. So that didn't really do you any good at all. I need to follow where this goes so I can successfully put the stuff here for the tank ball. So whoa, that is a big loop. And then the 3rd way is that you do successfully prepare, and you do all the right things and everything like that. And you do build a moat around your house or your compound or whatever to ward off all the invading, neighbors or zombies or whatever. And they all die in front of your place. And then you still die anyway. And the only people who do survive this whole thing are people who also tried preparing. And then you just want another apocalypse again because they get annoying. So I thought that was kind of funny. I know it's kind of a grim article, but I thought it was very well directed, because I realized in that moment, when it comes time for me to die, I'm going to die. It's not something I need to be concerned about or obsessed over or whatever. It'll happen one day, and when it does, I'm not worried about it. So it was a nice wake-up call for me, and I'm so glad I did not die there. That would have been terrible. Okay, I'm just going to wait here. And there. Awesome. Alright, turn complete. This was by Dale Bryan. Very tough level to optimize. It is also the only bold I currently do not have in links right now. So in CCLP2, so I'm going to have to figure that out sometime. Anyway, on to CircleMaze. So that was my little story for today. This is actually a way to bust this, and I'm going to try to pull it off here for you guys. But I think I just messed it up, so let me try that again. See, normally the intended solution is to go all the way around and get all this stuff, but you can actually just get a few things and get out. All you need is basically the boots, and then just a chip and a blue key, and you're pretty much good to go. And then this other pair of fire boots. Also, these random force floors pretty much make the bold time on this level ridiculous to get. So yeah, that is CircleMaze in a nutshell by David Stanley. Another fun David Stanley level. High security. Ooh, I like this one. This is a Paul Hobden level. Pretty fun one too. But yeah, that's my story for today. I don't know. This whole thing just kind of reminded me that, yeah, it doesn't hurt to prepare for some emergencies. It did kind of motivate me to, at least at some point in the future, I'm going to go out and get some, okay, I'm not going to fall for that again. And this time I think I'm going to go this way. Is that the way you do that? I think it is. Okay, good. Cool. So now the question is, what do we do? I think we need to get... The intended solution is use a block, but you can also use the teeth if you're really daring. You can use the teeth, and I forgot to get a key. Hang on. I think there was a key in this... Oh, I made it inaccessible. Ah, that was dumb. It's under that block over there, I think. I'm going to start over. So yeah, I don't think there is any harm in being prepared for some stuff, but I mean, if you define your whole life by preparing for things, like, I don't know how those people on that National Geographic show, that, what's that called, that underground bunker show or whatever, like, I don't know how in the world they can make it. Like, that's crazy that people can live like that. Like, I don't know how that's possible. I mean, kudos to them for putting all that work and stuff, but I mean, I just hate for my life to be spent so much on doing that and then nothing happens and I feel like I wasted my life. I mean, yes, you could say things like, well, if something does happen, it would be worth it. But would it though? I mean, would you really want to live in a post-apocalyptic world? Let me know in the comments below. Like, what do you think? Would you really want to live in a post-apocalyptic world? I mean, would you want to try to survive out there? I mean, I have to wonder... One of my friends gave me this interesting point recently, and he said that he believes that one of the reasons why, you know, zombie shows and movies and, you know, things like that are really popular right now is because people want to get a sort of jolt from their daily routine. I mean, they want, you know, a break from the norm, so to speak. And that's why, you know, we see a lot of stuff about the apocalypse these days, because it appeals to that sense of dissatisfaction with the norm. So, you know, when geeky, you know, Norman, I'm just going to make that name up. Norman was like the nerdiest name I can think of. I'm sorry to anyone out there named Norman. I really am. I'm not trying to make fun of you. I promise. But if, you know, if geeky Norman in the office, you know, who's normally put down for, you know, his geekiness and stuff, is suddenly the hero of the apocalypse, he's a hero now. You know, it's just that kind of mentality. And this is Teeth, which is kind of a little bit of a tight level, but a lot of fun, too, as a level. And then we have this situation where we need a Teeth to get the tank, so I'm going to try this. Okay, now it's in that little niche, so that'll get it closer. Perfect. Okay, good. But yeah, I think people just really want to be heroes. You know, they're tired of their mundane existence, and they really want the apocalypse to come. When brushing teeth, use 3 up and down motions. That's a hint to guide a teeth along in this area. And I forget exactly how this goes, but it's something like this. Like that. I think that's the optimal way to do it. There we go. That's sort of the optimal way to do it. I messed up quite a bit at the beginning there. But yeah, I honestly think people are really obsessed with, you know, that part of them that just really wants to do something more than just, you know, what their daily mundane lives consist of. And I've been having to keep that part of myself in check because, I mean, I'm guilty of it too. I'm not, you know, I'm not completely, you know, innocent of this. I'm not trying to look down on anyone or, you know, trying to say I'm better than anyone. I mean, I'm guilty of it too. So, I mean, I'm right there up with all those people, and I'm trying to work on that. So, yeah. Just some random musings for the day. Teeth complete. Great Eric level. Really fun. I guess you can wander around there in the outside toward the end, sort of. Anyway, Frost Rings. This level, I love this level. This is a great use of invalid tiles. It's a Tire Folly level, and I really like this idea of having to collect all these chips under ice, and... hang on, no, I haven't quite messed this up yet. Trying to remember how... This is how. Like that. And this last one, thankfully, you can just use the sockets. There we go. 120 levels done. I'm going to do this one real quick. Flame Boy. Flame Boy. You get a fireball going around. This is a level that can be busted by using what some people call the headbanger rule in Microsoft, where you wait half a move before pushing a block on a force floor slide, and then basically you kind of ram off of it. Ah, messed it up. So let me try this again. This is by Eric, by the way. It's kind of, actually, technically, it's the level that precedes Bumbleboy in Eric's set. Even though Bumbleboy came first in this set. Yeah, the rest of the level involves a lot of monster manipulation and some complicated stuff, and I didn't really wait there very long, I don't think. I'm actually kind of bad at doing this without pausing. I really need to work on it. Doing this LP has really gotten me out of my pausing shell, I gotta admit, especially with all those kind of optimizing runs I was doing toward the beginning. There we go, that's what I meant to do. And we crossed 4 million, so guess what, guys? That is a good place to stop because Warehouse 2 is a monster and I want to wait to do it until next time. So I think we're going to just cap it off here for now. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button. I really appreciate all the comments and all the support you guys leave, so thank you for that. And I will catch you all on the flip side. So take care, and I will see you then, if the apocalypse doesn't happen.